Welcome back to Lady Justice. In part one of Letecia Stauch's FBI interview, we heard the opening stage of the conversation that would continue for hours. Now, in part two, the interview continues, and as the questions keep coming, so do the explanations, the detours, and Leticia's attempts to control where this conversation goes. During this next hour, listen closely not only to what Letecia says, but to how she says it. Pay attention to which questions she answers directly, which ones she redirects, and what happens when the agents return to details she would rather move past. And this is still not the end. Part three is coming next, and at the rate I'm going today, you may be getting several parts of this interview very soon. So get comfortable, keep your notes ready, and tell me in the comments which moments stand out for you. I know in the last interview, I noticed that she walked back that whole bath salts thing. I found that very odd because she really did make a huge deal about those bath salts when she was trying to make him look like a delinquent teenager who ran away. And let's continue with part two of the FBI interview with Letecia. This brings us to the end of part two, but this FBI interview is far from over. Part three is coming next and possibly very soon because I might just keep editing until this entire interview is up. It's Sunday. I'm not doing anything, so I just might get them all out today. Before you leave, tell me what stood out to you during this hour. Was there a particular answer, contradiction, change in tone, or moment between Letecia and the agents that caught your attention?
With the victimology thing.
He needed that. He needed that. He needed that outlet to be able to say, okay, when I have anger and I have upset, because he typically, like I said, Gannon doesn't get angry and just, lash out or say anything like that. He doesn't like, or if he says something smart back to Albert, it's usually he's very literal. He'll say something and then just
right.
So that's in your assessment of him. I could probably count on one hand the times that Gannon would have been
aggressive like that.
Right, and not even to the point of aggressive of like he actually acted upon it, other than showing signs. And I think once we got the counseling in place, he was able to have his friends now. He knew he was in a place that.
I don't think they're watching through this. This is a brand new thing. They even said it's like backwards because the camera's there, but the window's there, so the seat should be there anyway.
But no, I just didn't know because I thought I heard a fire alarm. So he never like really just had a hard time until the counseling. In play, I seen leaps in the way that not only he acted, but our relationship with each other, relationship with dealing with, okay, go do this. Sir, it's so hard because I'm sorry.
I'm old, but don't call me
Don. It's so hard because if I get up in the morning and I have, Gannon would even say, you want me to take the dogs out so you can have 10 more minutes of sleep? And I convinced him to change my name. So I had him on board with like calling me a different name, and so because I didn't like my original name, so I had him on board with calling me a different name. So the helpfulness through not only just the counseling and then having that stability became so great for him.
Good.
And that's the piece that I really wish, you sit here and say you've heard people say stuff or talk, whatever, and you've spent your career going through people who you've had to help and people who you've known bullshit or whatever. But Gannon benefited so much from going in there that he was able to talk to us, and that's when I started hearing words like, okay, I love you. And he would say Harley, like they never really he would say it, but like not that like situation of like, oh, I love you, and like the affection and things like that. And that began to, I thought we were on the path for him really to see that I can be more, I don't just want to take advice, but be more of a,
Right.
like, and that was where I felt like we were definitely
Good. Well, that's helping. That's helping.
in that situation.
So that kind of answers the bath salts thing. He really wasn't he wasn't outright asking you, I want to get high off of bath salts.
No. I think that it was more of a situation with, they were going to school in a school that had older kids. And I think it was just more of a, they heard this is speculation. I'm just telling you what my observation is based upon how I heard them talk and, people talk. They were just wanting, I hate to say, like, to fit in, per se. And it was just a situation where Gannon would do whatever in order to just be game and just do. You said you have a boy, a little boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was in the gist of it. If you could, I could tell Gannon, you want to play your Switch? Okay, will you help me go get your teacher? And so he was in such a yes sir, yes ma'am mode of giving technology, and I think that was hard going to school with kids that were older and coming home on the bus. They had the same, you have some boys who get to do a little more than others. And this is based upon my assumption, just from talking to them, like, when we were talking about it, like, is that there was just more, like, not pressure, maybe kind of sort of peer pressure, but there was just more of like wanting to know what could I do to get this person to like me. He only liked certain friends. And those were his people. He would obsess on them. Like, his friend Connor, that's the person he obsessed on. And Braden, that's the person he obsessed on. So if someone liked the interest that he likes, he will like develop that obsession on them and just want to, not a bad obsession, I don't mean like a,
right. No, I get it.
He wants that's the person he wants to hang out with. He didn't have 27 friends. He had just that person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was what, and I feel like with that's where we were at in that situation, just trying to, just think it's bad, but I understand you have a friend who wants to do this, that type of thing. Yeah.
Good, that helps.
Yeah.
So that helps with the bath salts, and I'm trying to see how Gannon reacted to these little things that happened to him until he went missing.
Mm-hmm.
The candle incident. Can you tell me about that? Okay,
so Gannon wanted to, I don't remember if he wanted to stay up 30 minutes. I can't remember. There was something he did that allowed him to earn some extra time. There was something he did. But Albert had grounded him from playing the Switch. So he wasn't allowed to, play a Switch or whatever. He was only allowed to, like, if he wanted to watch an extra movie or something like that. He heard it.
Right.
Well, on the hike earlier that day, he was so helpful with me, and people think he was sick and he's still whatever, but I have severe stomach issues and still have to operate. But he was so helpful with taking care of the dogs and stuff. And I had told Gannon that, so the Sunday he could be passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, I remember that.
So we sat around and we had, like, before we left, we were, like, on the sofa, and I'm just, like, crying, and he's like, why are you crying? And we're just, like, he didn't know who that was. Like, he knew the name,
mm-hmm.
but not, like, growing up in, like, my generation to, like, know who that was. So we just sat there and, like, talked about it, and I told him, I was like, Kobe had all those girls. And so again, I started relating in the terms of being like, oh, that's, like me, I have all sisters, and so we were talking about that, and in between some of those questions might have been certain questions that led to what he was asking me about what went on school and the thing.
Okay.
In the talk.
Right.
And so that led into on the hike that day about what we talked about. So then that evening, I don't remember what he did, but I remember I said he had 30 minutes of something extra. And I knew it wasn't his Nintendo or things like that at the time because he wasn't supposed to earn that back until the next day. And so then, we had, I think I was upstairs, Carly wasn't there. Carly had to work until, like this. Mm-hmm. Carly had to work until, I think it was like maybe 10 minutes, whatever. And then, Gannon had, I think, what was he doing? He was doing something else. So I go back upstairs, then I hear the machine was saying, like, beep, 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 like, is this someone that's coming in the house?
Okay.
So I put the code in thinking that the live alarm thing went off there. The doors open, or, none of that stuff. No doors open. So then I go back where Lena was at, and I see she was faking sleeping, but not really sleeping. And then, but she had, like, the cover over her head a little bit, and so, like, she was doing, like, whatever. And so then I hear the thing saying fire. Like
Does it actually say fire?
It said fire.
Okay.
So that was the crazy thing, because I never had heard, I didn't know what, I thought it would just be like, ah.
Right, like a siren.
But I don't know if it was the detector thing saying fire, or if it was the actual machine thing saying fire. But it was just like fire, 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 whatever. So then I run back in there and I look and I don't see anything in Lena's room. I don't see anything. I look downstairs and I don't see anything. And it was still going. So I grabbed Lena. I'm going to tell you exactly wrong, but I'm pretty sure I grabbed Lena first. I grabbed the dog. I gave her the keys. King of Howland. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure it was in that order.
Yeah.
And we run out to the truck with the lake. Either open the door. I don't remember. Somehow they get to the truck.
Okay.
And then I run back downstairs because at this point I already know that there was smoke. And so I run back downstairs and Gannon was awake but not awake. Like, you know how you can almost like be asleep but not asleep kind of thing.
Or in his bed.
No. He wasn't in his bed.
Where was
he? He was on the sofa.
On the sofa.
Right. So he was on the sofa. And so, like, when I pull the cover, I pull Gannon with the cover. And so at this point in time, then I put the fire that's out.
What did the fire look like?
It wasn't like huge.
Where was it? In the carpet? On the sofa?
I feel like it was on like one of the covers.
On the covers? Was the cover on the sofa though, or was it on the floor?
I don't remember. I just remember it was in the small location. It wasn't a big enough fire to like.
What color was it? Do you remember? Was it yellow, red, orange?
Wasn't in a color to it. Listen.
Because I think blue burns the hottest, and then you'd have stuff. If stuff gets involved in the fire, you have a yellowish or reddish color.
I don't remember.
Don't remember?
I don't remember.
How can you show me how tall it was? Like, do you remember?
It wasn't tall.
Wasn't tall.
I don't feel like it. I mean, but my tall might be different than your tall. So I don't want to say.
Still, a fire's going to freak you out.
Right. Yeah. So when I pull the cover, I pull him with the cover too, and we run out.
Did you put out the fire or no?
I know that we took the covers, both of us. When he sees what's going on, we took the covers and like we smashed down
on the fire.
Like on it, yeah, because my thought was oxygen, put it out.
Right.
Like, put it out, whatever.
Did it take much? Sorry to interrupt. Did it take a lot to put it out or no? Or did you just smother it and then move? Or was it something in between?
Was there what now?
Something in between. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Something in between?
Like in between, just it happened real quick, or you had to fight it for a while, or?
Oh, it wasn't like fighting for a while. Like there was already a bunch of covers on the side that I had grabbed them all and put it here, which is why the whole thing was balled over covers. Covers balled up everywhere. So it was like stuff there. And then I run, and he's running behind me. So as I'm running up, he like trips or whatever. So he's right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think I exit back out the garage. I feel like.
So the truck was in the garage.
No. It was out front. I'm saying like I think I exited back out the garage.
Okay.
Because I feel like I just ran back to that door. I'm not 100% positive. I know we ran out. Then Gannon runs right out behind me. And when I turned around and I'm saying something to him because I'm like, hey, because in my mind I don't remember if I had gotten the dogs, even though I had already had grabbed the dogs, and he felt like I don't remember what we were saying, but we were all in a frantic, whatever. He jumped in the passenger side, and I'm in the driver's side of the truck.
Okay.
Lena is in the back, and at that point, we drive off. So we drive off for, I don't know, a minute maybe. And then we drive it, but there's no gas in the truck.
So was anybody burned from that?
So Gannon had...
You or Gannon?
Gannon had little burns on his arms from that. And then, but at the time, Gannon always lays with like his, either it's like his underwear or like something like that. So At the time when we ran out, I feel like, did he have a shirt? I don't remember if he grabbed a shirt or grabbed another cover when we ran out or whatever. But I knew that he had some burns on his arm, but I know they weren't bad, like burns that were bad. They were just like, if you peeled a little bit or whatever.
Were they discolored then? Was his skin reddish, pinkish? What was it? Or did you see it then? Or
No, it was not till later that I really like paid attention and should have been like, okay, well, because I did later on.
Okay.
So like his arms, and then we get in the truck or whatever, and then we drop. So then we come back, and so I'm of course, and like I text Harley, I text Albert, what had happened, and I said, this is what happened, and I tell Harley this is what happened. Don't panic, we come home. Because the house at this point in time we get back in smells like nothing but smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing but smoke at this point in time. And it was just like, I couldn't get the smoke out. Even opening up the like windows and all those things, I couldn't get the smoke out. So that was
what happened with these covers that you used to put out the flame?
Well, the covers were either left there, because I remember getting some of the stuff and putting outside in the trash can, which I even showed the people when they got there that I put in the trash can.
Do you guys have singular trash cans for each house there, or do you have a dumpster, or what?
You really like a big trash? It's just a big brown trash.
One of the ones you wheel out and put by the curb. Okay.
Yeah, so it was just one of those. And it was, one was like whatever, but we did want Albert to like come home, not necessarily come home with me for that, but we maybe like had upped it a little bit to Albert because we were like thinking, like he would be sad and he's gonna come home, whatever, because he was like worried, like whatever. So my message to Albert probably was a little bit like a little more over exaggeration, just because that was.
When you say we, did you talk with the kids about let's get Albert home?
No. We did sit down, and because when I was asking him, like, was this, did you do this on accident? Was this an accident? Whatever. And so we were just talking about, like the whole thing. Everybody was in one room. We were all in the bedroom at the time, which was our bedroom upstairs.
Okay.
So we were all in the bedroom upstairs, and it was just talking and whatever. And I said, I got to let your daddy know. And then I was not going to tell him. That was the original thing. It was not to tell him. It was just to fix it and not tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I was like, if I just do that, and then we don't have to, we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
But then that was just an opportunity to be like, oh, well, maybe Albert is like, no, just come back home. Or, it was hard, like, always, all of us just there, going through all these memories and doing all these things without him, being there.
No, I get it.
So that was.
So did Gannon agree that was a good idea to kind of play it up a little bit?
Did he agree?
Yeah.
We all were in like an agreement.
So how did you play it up? Was the fire really not that big, and you made it like it was a big deal, or?
Well, so whenever
just to get Al to say, hey, maybe I should get back home.
When we were explaining it to people in general, like that was our whole like, oh my gosh, it was like whatever, because if you got my phone, you saw that like the people that we messaged, we made it more of like a like a bigger situation, like than what it really was.
Yeah, because I couldn't understand how a candle could make a big fire, because my wife lights candles all the time around the house, and if we knocked them over, and if you knock it over, kind of nothing happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it might singe the carpet a little bit, but
yeah.
I've seen the pictures, and I'm surprised that, that much of the carpet was burned.
Well, it was probably because, I don't know, but I know that we did go, like, push down on the carpet, and it was on the cover, because the cover was wrapped up in the candle.
Right.
So, I don't know, like...
That's what I was just curious about, the burn itself on the carpet. That looks awfully big for a candle.
I didn't even think that was even big. Was that really big?
Yeah, that big for a candle, because, like I said, my wife, we look like a church sometimes with all the candles she lights. Yeah. We have dogs running around and kids.
No, it was...
I was just surprised a candle could make, a big black thing in the carpet that much. That it might have been held there for a little while. Yeah. Maybe he tried to set the
I don't know about... But see, the thing is, I don't know that Gannon would try to like purposely like set something on fire. I don't know. I know that he did tell me later that he thought that I was coming downstairs, and he was playing the game. So I don't.
He was playing his game when he knocked the candle over.
Yeah. So he did tell us. He told me and Lena and all of us that when we were all talking together, he told us that he thought I was coming downstairs. Like to catch him on his game, whatever.
Oh, and that's why he knocked it over.
I don't know.
I
don't know if he accidentally or thought, whatever. I just know he said that he thought.
But did he take any responsibility for knocking the candle over, or did it just say it happened, or what?
No, he did say that.
Okay.
He did say that he had done it, that he had started it, or whatever. And I asked. That's why I kept asking him, like, did you do it on purpose?
That's what I'm curious about.
Or did you, was it an accident? He told me an accident. He thought I was coming downstairs. So, and to me, sir, we could afford to buy another.
Yeah, for sure.
Sofa in another apartment. Now, that's not a problem. Like, I mean, you're talking about like things that we had and nice things that we can afford to buy. So that was not a point of contention, and Gannon very well would have known that.
So did it burn? It burned the sofa also?
I don't think it burned the sofa.
Okay.
I don't think it burned the sofa. I'm just saying, like, in general in the area. Whether if it would have burned sofa, TV, all that.
Right. Did he light the candle?
We could afford
or who
to
lit
do
that
it.
candle? Do you know?
The candle he had already lit the candle because the dogs were, I think, maybe like moving.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had already lit the candle, which we
Does
allowed.
he normally do that?
Yeah, we allowed him he could light the candle if he wanted to. He was allowed to open like packages that came. That's where I was telling you, Albert taught him how to use like the box cutter and stuff like that. He was allowed to do those type of things. As long as, he was usually within reason, like, okay, I'm not going to go like, fire on fire or, like, or something like that. When I was little too, like I did the same thing about curious about matches and, like things like that. But we had already given him enough of, like safety talks about, like Albert, when he talked to him about using the box cutters and knives, he always showed him the right direction and, not to just go to, cut open boxes and stuff. So he had already had these, talks about the correct way to do
right.
these things. Mm-hmm.
Well, it explains those two. So I've got the bath salts, the candle, and now the foot injured in the garage. So tell me about that.
The foot injury.
Sorry, before I go there, so we don't forget, you said healing these later.
I just remember that on Monday his arm had a little bit of peeling to it. And that's when I said in my mind, like I told the earlier here, that I did at that point say, I probably should like think about if later on after I put stuff on it, I need to think about if it gets worse, monitor the situation, like those type of things.
Did you put stuff on it or no?
Well, we had took that green aloe stuff and we had took and put the dog had just had it before, so I already had that little wrap stuff in it.
Okay.
And so we had already done that in that situation.
Did you put it in both arms?
I think it's on the right arm, I feel like.
And when did you do that? Was that Sunday night, Monday morning, both?
I think it was Sunday night.
Okay.
No, actually it wasn't. It was through the night because we stayed up late. So it would have already been Monday morning hours. Like into Monday morning hours.
So why were you guys up late?
Because we couldn't breathe. The smell was so it's like stuck in the house from the smoke. We couldn't breathe. And I don't want to.
So where did you guys hang out until you could breathe?
We slept in our room. And then we opened all the windows downstairs.
Okay. And all four of you slept in?
So Lena, Harley, me, and him were in the room for a while. Then Gannon went to, I think he went to Lena's room at this point. Yeah. So then Gannon went to Lena's room for a while, but then he was in his room by the time he woke up. So I don't know if he got up in.
What time do you think you went to Lena's room? Was it after midnight or when?
Sure, I don't know.
When did you call him in sick? It was pretty early in the morning.
Well, what happened is all I did was I called and asked about his stomach. It was nothing to do with anything to do with the fire or anything like that. My question was, I had already given him Miralax, which was like,
Mm-hmm.
So we had a prescription of over the counter. I say whatever it is, prescription Miralax, whatever
Right.
it's whatever. And I had already given him that. And so then I also had X-Lax. And I thought, at what point can I not? Like, how much is enough? If I can't get him to pass this, at what point is there enough, or can I let him do it like an enema? Or I can tell you, I've given him an enema before, and like things like that, because it gets so bad and they're just so big and they get clogged up. So that was the concern about how to get him to pass that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like for me, I have to I can drink 10 scoops of Miralax.
Won't affect you
It
that
won't affect me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't want it to be where it was the squirts and then also the combination is different in my stomach because, like I said, if I take 10 of them, I'm okay.
So he's having the squirts and he started having those in the hike, but he couldn't pass that whole evening. Is that right?
Right. He would get out big balls, but like couldn't get like the whole thing out. And that was sometimes when he finally
That had to be painful,
worn out,
wasn't it? Yeah.
For me, I lay in the bathroom and I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Like whenever.
Was he telling you he was in pain?
Well, he sits on the toilet. His common thing is that he'll sit on the toilet and just sit there and sit there and sit there. So as long as he's got something to focus with, Gannon's pain tolerance is very high when it comes to just sitting there, like focusing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
So he spent a lot of time in the bathroom that evening, just sitting there.
Yeah, all sitting on the bathroom. We got kids meals, but he came out and ate his kids meals. And then it made it feel better. So I said,
McDonald's or what?
no, we Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr.
Yeah. So I had originally said Burger King, but that's not Burger King right there. That's Carl's Jr.
Got it.
Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
Because I never go to Carl's Jr., but we got 2 kids meals, and I think I got something too. And Lena went with me. So he ate the kids meals when we got back.
Still hadn't passed. So.
Well, if he ate, he had done something. He had already used it some because he wouldn't have eaten.
And did you give him the Miralax before the meal then?
I had already given him Miralax throughout the week. We always had this thing where if I went in there and took one of my shots, like say berries or something like that, he would take one too. So it was common for me to be like, okay, here, and Albert would always say, go mix him up one of the drinks because we put it on juice. Well, he didn't like juices as much unless it was like Kool-Aid juices, sweet. So it was a common thing to always try to give Miralax to regulate the system. But the problem is, if you don't take the Vyvanse, so you don't take it for a day, like you didn't take it on Saturday, because family was in town, and so you don't take it on Saturday, and if you don't take it on Sunday, that's when it starts to happen. That's when the constipation and the diarrhea kind of can go hand in hand. So, like, let's say if he would have took it Saturday, and let's say he would have took it Sunday, he wouldn't have been as bad. But then the problem is, Albert always would want him not on it if we're going to go do like a big time activity, because instead of having him like, zoned out on something, you don't want him to zoned out on something.
Yeah.
That was
the Vyvanse stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like the thing was, if we go somewhere that requires him to have like massive amounts of things, then we don't want him to be under that Vyvanse and just have to be like zoned in. We want him to be able to especially like on the hike, I wanted him to be able to like run around and do things. Because me and him were always on the top of all, like if we had hiked, we were always on the top of hikes. We were always the ones,
right?
Leading, doing everything.
So was he bleeding that night? Do you know?
From
rectally,
from
anally, yeah.
So what happens is from him squeezing, I hate talking about this stuff.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, things that are going on with him the last couple hours.
Yeah, so like from him squeezing and stuff like that, his does the same thing as mine does, and mine does the same thing. And so that's why I told you we're so much alike, and we could relate on that, because it was like, oh my gosh, like blood on your butt, just from squeezing and things like that. And that wasn't like pouring out.
Okay, so it wasn't a copious amount.
Yeah.
Just because of him struggling with that all night, or that evening into the night. Yeah. You don't know when he eventually felt good? Or
how it works is he might feel good, and then it gets to where it's hurting still until he gets it all out. It's not until he returns like 100% again. Like, okay, I'm back to Gannon.
Did he get back to Gannon that night?
For Sunday?
Yeah.
yeah, so he was fine when he was downstairs. I thought he earned extra time.
Right.
To be able to stay up and stuff.
Yeah, but I thought, was he not struggling with this after the candle incident?
Right. Like what happens is, I mean, if you want to call in a GI person, but he gets where he's okay, and then a little bit more okay, and a little bit more. It's just episodes. They happen every once a month there is.
Right.
Where he goes through those episodes of his stomach and mind those same things.
So when you guys were up in the bedroom, how was he?
You mean like after
the flame and fire and smoke?
He was upset and like crying because he thought he was going to lose his switch, like for a long time. Like he thought, that he was going to lose his switch all the time. So my biggest thing was, I don't care, we'll just do whatever we want to do. Buy new ones, buy new whatever. I would be quicker to cover up a lot of things for Gannon. Because we just related on the same page, more so than Lena, because Lena was even most kind of like bratty and sure, whatever. So Gannon could be more of like, we can have like secrets and talk and say,
right.
So I'd be more inclined to okay, don't tell anybody, we'll fix it. And so that was kind of like our conversation, what we were talking about. And he was upset, like very, like upset and hurt and just trying to whatever, but we also kind of just.
So how late do you think he stayed up with you in the room until he finally left?
I don't know.
Was it past midnight or do you?
I don't know. At this point, at this point. So whenever he went to Lena's room, I think he walked down. I don't remember exactly, but I know because all four of us couldn't fit in the bed with two dogs. So at one point in time, we had to switch. Like, okay, you go sleep here, you go sleep here. And I feel like at one point, Harley was sleeping on the sofa, and then Harley and Lena switched because we were up. Like I said, we couldn't breathe. It was very smoky. So we were all like not sleeping. When Lena went to school, I'm pretty sure she probably went to sleep. It was very, very like exhausted.
Right.
Because like us staying up and like.
So Lena was real sleepy, but she went to school.
Yeah, like what I'm saying is when she woke up, she probably was like really, really like felt like she could have used a couple more hours.
So why did you call Gannon in sick and not her?
Well, she wasn't struggling with stomach problems.
So he still had him in the morning.
Right.
Okay.
So it wasn't. I even had messaged Albert through the night and said, "Hey, I asked him. Like I asked him, and he said, okay, if Gannon stays out." And so that was.
Yeah.
So he didn't respond because he was on a different time zone.
Okay. So you called in sick though too for your work.
So what I did was I said, I told Albert, I said, hey, I'll just stay at home and stay in today. And he didn't write me back or he didn't whatever. But the plan was I wasn't going to go back to teaching. Like that was, like the plan was I was not going back to teaching.
So starting, when was that a plan?
I think it was like December, so I was just going to try to use like days and try to, whatever, because I just didn't want to go back to teaching.
Right. What did you tell your school as far as why you didn't show up that day?
For that day, I didn't talk to them about anything that day.
Your school, you didn't?
Not that day.
Did you just not show? Or did you have classes waiting on you? Or?
No. Okay, so what happened was I transitioned because I was like, okay, I wasn't going to be a teacher anymore. And I was like, okay, well, I have to do something until this, like, the whole flight attendant thing started. So I had to do something until then. I couldn't just not have money or whatever. So I got on DSE. What is it? I don't know what district it's called, but it's one of the districts. And I said I would do a long-term sub position, or I would do the regular southern position. And then I just, at that point, it was going to just call in whenever I could work. I think it's 8. I haven't met yet.
Right.
I could just call in whenever I worked or whatever.
So were you scheduled to show up then Monday morning?
From the school that I wasn't going to work at anymore, I had already told them that I wasn't. Like, I didn't even complete paperwork with them yet. So it wasn't even, I wasn't
They
even,
weren't counting on you to show up that day or anything.
what do you mean? But I hadn't like signed any contracts. I hadn't like done anything with them because the whole plan was I was not going to be teaching. I was just going to be.
Okay. Yeah, I get you didn't sign contracts, but were they planning for you to come in to do something on Monday and you had to call in?
I never called it on Monday. I'd already told them.
Text down or
No,
something?
on Thursday or Friday, I'd already told them. Okay. On Thursday or Friday, I'd already told them that I wasn't coming in. Like I didn't go in Friday either. Like I'd already told them I wasn't. So it was like, you're asking me about if I told them Monday, but I'd already told them prior.
Or you'd already told them, so you didn't have to tell them you're not coming in on Monday?
Right, because I'd already told them because, see, on my dad's side, there was someone who passed away. And I just used that as the reason why I wasn't coming in. The prior week.
Oh, okay.
So that's, and then,
how did they pass away?
well, my dad is remarried to my stepmom. Or my dad's married to my stepmom. And then my first one became cancer. So, and honestly, I didn't have many plans to go there. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But it bought me some time into not teaching and then trying to get set up on the next schedule. I started developing like a lot of stress over teaching because it wasn't so much about teaching anymore. It was about following a piece of paper that wasn't helping the students. And so that was already a plan that was set separately. And trying to figure
So you could say the stepmom excuse then?
Mm-hmm.
Did you mention stepmom for the week prior then, as far as why you might not be there?
No, I didn't mention anyone. I just started having this in the family. I didn't say anything to do with our family or stepmom or anything. I just said we had a
Were they okay with that?
Yeah. I mean,
what are you going to say?
I mean,
death in the family. You can't.
Yeah, and plus too, I hadn't even done anything like with them. It was just, why would I even want to set myself up in a position to be teaching with them again? I just couldn't do it. I thought I could because I was like, if I do it, I would just do it until I could be in a sub position or whatever, and I hated it.
Yeah, I had to stop for a little while before the FBI.
But well, see, I didn't have a problem moving into the sub list.
Yeah,
like
sub's not fun.
Right, and you push it on get paid what you should. But I didn't have a problem moving into the sub list. I just didn't. I don't want to teach sped. I was in a hard position with not wanting to be a teacher at all. All I wanted to do was work with like people and being like able to see new people every day. So I had to buy myself some time. And just was fortunate that someone had passed away. And so I bought myself time in order to. You want the truth, that's the truth. I bought myself time. I bought myself time to just be able to take I think it was Thursday, Friday, maybe Friday. It was 1 or 2 days to take that time through the weekend to kind of self-reflect and be like, how can I get to the position where I want to? You know how hard it is to look at someone and say, how am I working in education and really want to do it?
Yeah, my wife's in education and my wife's in education. But yeah, I mean, some people are cut out for it and others are like.
Right, and I did it so long, and it was like, it was more so about following everything by the book and not being able to actually get to have fun with kids anymore and get to teach them the way you want to teach them.
Right.
So that was, it was to buy myself some time, and plan was just to work in the airport and take it from there.
Okay. So tell me about the next morning then. So now you're at home, Gannon's at home,
right.
Elena's at school. Tell me what happens then.
Right. So this is where I need help from everybody.
Yeah. And you can get help. Like I said, I've had some high-level informants that have told me some horrific things, and we've had to relocate them. We can get different names. But to do that, to kick that in motion, we need to know the story. We can't just say,
right.
Oh, someone's got really important information.
Right. Well, that's where I would need someone to help guide me through this, because I want to help more than anything.
That's why I'm here, because I'm representing Denver FBI, and then I have the ability to pull resources from Quantico, which is our behavior analysis unit. Everything comes out of there.
Right.
It's called CERD, which is our Incident Response Group. So
Right.
this was a big enough case that the supervisor of the FBI asked me to come down from Denver, and I get all my training out there. So
Right.
you're not going to have better resources in this room right now. And I'm not bragging.
Right.
I've just been doing this stuff for a long time.
Right.
So if you tell me what happened and then you need protection, we can do all that stuff. So DEA doesn't have those capabilities. ATF doesn't. No. DEA just investigates drugs, and they're very good at it.
Right.
But the FBI, we're now worldwide, and we have offices Bogota to Russia to China to wherever. So, and we get a lot more funding because of when September 11th happened. That changed everything for us. We were the nation's #1 law enforcement agency before then, but they gave us so many more resources since then.
Right.
And so I am specialized in missing kids and unusual homicides, including serial killings and whatever else. So I didn't get in right away on your case, but I did. I have been working it for the past couple of weeks. Yeah. Well, I'm here now, and whatever you tell me, the worst thing I can do for people like you is if you have a story that requires your protection for the FBI, it would not be good for me to run out and say, "Oh, Letecia told me this," and that's not how it works. If this can help us find Gannon, we'll do whatever we can. Okay.
Not like I just need like protection for the family. I swear to you.
Okay. Well, you can get that, but we have to know the story first.
So how am I supposed to get help talking to someone first before we talk to you? Because I'm willing to do that.
So here's your deal. If you need help, and if you want to go through the court process, that's fine. We leave, and then you work through the court process. But then it just becomes the whole focus of this, Letecia. Right now, you're the only one. You're the last one. You're the last adult with him. You're the last adult we know about with him. You have not told anybody anything else to lead us. We have been trying to work with Val to say, what does she say in that, and the Quincy Brown thing and whatever else.
I was mad at him about all that. But a lot of it was keys to help you guys. But it should have just been, if I could have just reached out to someone to be like, I'm terrified for myself and for the family. And it would have been. And also what I can help you with can also help you with something else you might be already looking into.
What was that?
I'm just saying.
Well, Letecia, you've got to give me something here to work with. If you want to go through the court process, like I said on here, the last question, if you want to stop at any time, you are more than welcome to stop and say.
But it says you can have one present to talk to you.
Yep. And that will kick in the court process, and then we're done, which is fine. And if that's what you want. Okay, but the whole, if you need protection and that sort of thing, I can't get you there without you giving me something. So I listened to all the calls with Al, and I've seen the crime scene reports. Okay, what happened in the bedroom was not Gannon slinging his blood on the wall.
Well, that's totally not even to do with anything.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so upset about bedrooms and all those things, because I understand you're an expert. I know that, but I'm telling you I'm gonna need protection. That's it. It's not me. I'm not the person.
So, but if you're not the person, the charges won't be different. Okay, if you allowed someone else to come in and do the things to Gannon that we know happened to him, you're just as guilty.
I didn't allow anyone, and I don't know of anything like you're talking about to be happening to you. I do know that there is something I can tell you that can help you, or help me, help everyone, but I do need that help.
Well, So let me tell you where I am. Okay. Like I said, I've been 23 years with the FBI. For the last 20, I've been working violent crime. And I've worked some of the worst cases. And it's kind of messed me up a little bit, to be honest,
Right.
seeing what I've seen. And I worked 20 years of bank robberies.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought that you were going to have, I'm the FBI, I'm the good guy, bad people go rob banks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to help arrest other FBI agents, police officers, people from the church, school resource officers. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, some of the bank robbers, one of them came out after serving a 10-year sentence, and we had it off just fine, even though, we were on opposite sides of the fence. The thing that I have seen, though, throughout is when something very bad happens, people think they can't recover from it. And I do not think you are a bad person.
No.
That's why I'm here. No, I don't.
I didn't do
I've
that.
seen bad
And
people.
you tell people that to get them to help you.
No, I would not have this approach with you if I thought you were a bad person. I think something bad happened. And I think that what I've seen a lot, whether it's you think that you can get out if you do this or this or this, that's where you are now. And you're hoping that one of these things can save you. They're not going to be able.
What do you mean? What were you talking about?
There was nobody else there. Okay. We've looked at the alarms, we've looked at the motions, we've looked at the detectors.
The alarms are already covered up.
The alarms were already covered
Yeah.
up. Okay. But
sir, I'm telling you, what you have is not you. I know you say you wouldn't sit here and say this to me if I wasn't. Whatever. I'm telling you, it is true. I would not, and did not, would not, didn't. And with you guys having my phone, I would have thought that you would have had some of the apps looked into. Now, I would have thought that sometimes when I talked to Albert, you might have listened to them all or whatever. It could have been some help and indication on the apps. I really did. Because I couldn't come at you and just tell you if you say there's somebody not involved. I could walk you through it and prove it to you, and you guys have already had this predetermination. I don't mean you. I have this person I sent to you. You guys have already had this predetermination. That's what's going to happen. It's already in your mindset.
Yeah, because we have no other evidence pointing us elsewhere. So if there was a shred of evidence, Letecia, that pointed us to some other person, we would be all over it. As soon as Quincy Brown came out of your mouth, it doesn't take long.
So, 100% he's in Mexico right now.
Yes, we do now. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because we did get our legal, we have what's called a legal attaché.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's where that alone, and I get that you're saying you have someone who looked into that and knows that. That's where I know in my heart that I can't trust to get help. At the very least.
You're saying Quincy Brown's not in Mexico?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But you would have said another word, like something in between that would have gave that off. Like, you wouldn't have said he's just in Mexico and didn't do anything. You would have said, oh, did he come back here for a reason? You wouldn't have said any of that. You would have known some other things too. Or maybe you have and you just can't tell me those things. And that's okay. But
well, we don't, in a case like this, so tips will come in, the public will call in. And then, of course, you and Al are primary interest because you're the parents of the missing kid. And 90% of the time, when a kid goes missing, it has to do with one of the parents. That's it. We work on probabilities.
Okay.
So, and especially with you, then, you're there, you say he went to a neighbor's house. That's the very first thing you say. And then there's no thought that somebody took him.
So there's no thought?
There's no thought for law enforcement.
But you're not understanding what happened leading up to the days before. Nothing to do with Gannon, nothing to do with me. Okay? In terms of me and Gannon. Okay? I love Gannon with all my heart. And so you can sit here and say 90% parents, this. Okay.
I'm not saying you don't love him.
I loved him.
I'm saying that even I have had times when my son rolled the basketball underneath that I wanted to turn around and do something, and then I would have regretted it later.
But what you're saying to me is what you think is that I hurt Gannon.
And I don't think it was intentional.
Okay, but I didn't hurt Gannon. Okay, and I didn't either intentional or not intentional hurt Gannon. I did not. That's just not what happened. Okay, and I had this conversation with you just to see for a second if I could get help from you.
Which you can, but how can you expect me to help you, Letecia, if you're not going to tell me what happened? You can't go, let me tell you. You can unlock the entire resources of the FBI right now. I've told you that. But then you say that you're not willing to do it, whether you don't trust me or you think that there's these
But you already told me someone wasn't there based on an alarm.
That's from what we can see. Yes, okay. Movement in the basement.
Right.
Movement upstairs.
But you've already told me that based on that. Okay. But what you're not realizing is there's 2 sensors on that home. Okay. 2 that can easily be manipulated. Easily. Okay. And if you even knew anything about prior, you would be thinking a lot differently now. But see, that's why I can't talk to you about these things, because you already have predetermined what you think.
It doesn't matter what I predetermined.
But you said intentionally, unintentionally, and that's not the case.
I'm not saying I'm right 100% of the time. It doesn't, you need to just disregard whatever I think, or really whatever anybody else thinks. If you have a truth, and if you have something that will help us find him, really, to hell with me and everybody else and what we think. You should just cast that aside. All I can follow is the facts of the case as they're told to me. Mm-hmm. And so for me to go somewhere else besides the facts, I have to then go back to the facts to check it. So when I say something
I'll talk to you in private, but you can't tell Albert about anything that led up to it or anyone else.
Albert will not know.
I understand that, but I will. But I need your help, and I need to know that you tell me the resources, you tell me whatever, okay? I know you're saying you got whatever, this and that and all that, but I really am going to need help. A lot. Swear to you. Don't base it on some alarm reports, because they can easily manipulate it.
No, we're not just
they easily were. I know I'm saying when you're saying no one else was there.
So
when you say that, don't base it on it, please. I'm begging you. Because that was not even remotely. It was not even.
So you care about Gannon?
I care about Gannon. I have reached out every day offering for people to go into certain places to get even insight, to see. I every day ask, hey, can you go do this? Can someone meet me here?
So you've asked someone to go look for him?
Right, like I reached out and I asked Albert, I said, hey, can you meet me? Let me tell you about this, and let's go to this location to look. And after all these.
What location do you think he's at now, Gannon?
No, I'm just saying, like,
no,
in general.
but I'm asking you.
In
right
general.
Now, where do you think he is right now?
I don't know exactly. I don't know.
Well, where do you know him to last?
I am 99% confident Gannon is alive.
Okay. Letecia, where do you know him to last be?
I want to help, sir, but I'm in a room, and you've already talking about all this and reports, and it's me against everybody else.
So here's the deal. Once this thing goes through the courts, you talked about that. You're the only one to be with him. You think you're going to be able to tell a story?
A story?
It might be a true story.
Gosh, sir.
But listen, I've listened to a lot of your stories, and I don't know what else to tell them.
Yeah, okay, that's because I was mad at him. Had nothing. I already knew.
But I've seen what you told the news reporter. I've listened to what you told El Paso about the sex assault that happened in the house.
I already knew that you guys were listening to him. Yeah. So I said that because I was angry.
But what I think I can offer you today is some help.
Okay.
And I've told people that I've worked with here this story because you remind me a lot of a case I worked about 5 years ago, and I'm still working a little bit of it today because of the fallout. There's a guy from Highlands Ranch. His name's Harold Henthorne,
Okay.
and he pretended to go to a job every day, like he was earning a lot of money. His first wife, she was a social worker in Denver. She ends up getting sick. He's going to have to pay for her medical bills, and because of that, she's going to be sick. She's going to have medical bills. She's going to find out that Harold doesn't really have a job.
Okay.
His image was very important to him. And he ended up staging an accident. And I'm not saying he did this again. I just want you to listen to this story. And the car fell on his wife and killed her. And he got away. Yes. It was down in Sedalia. A Jeep. He somehow got her underneath the Jeep, and the entire Jeep came down and crushed her. 10 years later, 12 years later, he's married to a second wife. They have a lot more money. They have a family. Harold's a Christian man. He went to Cherry Hills Church, which is a big church in Highlands Ranch. And he built the walls for Juarez. He would go down and do mission work, etc. So he had a good heart. But his second wife, she was an eye surgeon in Cherry Creek, and her family started figuring out that Harold didn't really have a job. And he actually dropped a beam on her head at a cabin, not trying to kill her. We don't know what that was about. But she stopped the oil checks coming in to Harold, because Harold he was collecting the family's oil checks. And then she ends up falling off the cliff in Estes Park. And you can't prove the difference between a push and a fall. And I found this out going into it, because if it happens in Estes Park, it's a federal crime.
Okay.
So Harold stood to inherit $6.5 million for her death. And he was just fine coming out there. But Harold told different stories to different people. Like from his church, he would say Tony was his wife. He said Tony was clumsy. She wasn't paying attention. Tony was looking at turkeys. She just ran off the edge. Tony was this, and that really hurt him in court. Because what happens later on is Harold's thinking, I was just saying this, because, maybe she was doing that. Maybe she wasn't. Instead of saying, this is what happened. And he also said, I didn't see her when she fell off the cliff. He said, I was just looking the other way. Really? You're looking at her the whole time, and then the time that she's off the cliff. And so I'm looking at your story, the ones that you've told to Al, the ones that you've said in the media, of hitting your head. When you hit your head, you didn't see what happened. And then when someone else takes Gannon, or when he's riding a bike and he hits his head and stuff like that.
Riding a bike. I just told you I was saying that to Albert because I was upset that he wasn't listening to me, that I did not hurt Gannon.
I don't think you intended to hurt Gannon at all.
There's no...
No, I'm not saying you did. Or he hurt himself. Something bad happened in his room.
No.
Have you seen you helped clean it off the wall?
Sir,
we know that.
This here, what you're talking about is completely irrelevant. About the whole freaking mad, whatever.
Tell me about, if it's irrelevant, Letecia, help me. Because there's a big blood pool in the corner. There's spray on the wall.
Because if I tell you anything about any of that, all you're going to say to me is, hey, da-da-da-da.
If you didn't do it, no, I will be your advocate. Because why do we know each other?
No,
why would I care? If you didn't do it, and it helps me find Gannon,
I didn't do it.
Okay, well then help me find out who did.
Who did what?
That's a Gannon in his room.
Done what to Gannon in his room?
There's a pool of blood in the corner.
Okay.
That's Gannon's blood.
Okay, so you're saying, now this is where I have a hard time knowing what it is. You're like, okay, trust you or not, right? You're saying there's a pool of blood. Albert said saucer size, because I'm sure you had him say all this, because I'm sure you were there, whatever. Okay. In his room, and you said something about, what'd you say?
On the wall.
Okay. Then, if that's your whatever, your expert advice or
There's
whatever,
small blood.
okay, then where do you think that I had any involvement with Gannon, and where did he go? That's where it has to click at some point.
And that's what I listened to you do that to Al, to where you're making him guess what happened to Gannon.
I don't want him to guess.
Well, no, you're asking me to guess.
No, I was asking a question, sir. I wasn't trying to get you to guess. I was just saying in general, asking a question. I want help with people understanding. I tried to give any insight, help, clues, anything, but I can't because they know my daughter, everyone, my family, my mom, everyone. And you can think that.
But right now, Letecia, I mean, you can go down that road, but it's not going to save you in court because you're the last adult living. So, and nobody else. Just let me try to protect you. I'm not trying to hurt you. This is actually protecting you. If you don't tell us where to go investigate, then nobody's going to investigate for you. You're the last adult with him. You told a lot of lies about all these injuries.
Not to you. I didn't tell lies to you or to any police officer.
Did a sex assault happen in the house?
I didn't tell any lies to you or a police officer. Okay.
So we don't have anybody to chase though if we don't chase you. Do you understand?
But if you chase me, okay, and you do this to me, people are protected because you guys aren't going to protect everybody. People are protected. Okay.
We can protect people. We can protect you, family, if this is involved. Now, I've worked South American theft groups. I've worked gangsters. I've worked organized crime. None of that stuff rings true with what happened here. I mean, how is a very organized gang going to come into a house in Colorado Springs?
You said a house. Why does it have to be in the house? See, that's where
you last was.
Oh.
Are you going to make me guess where he was then?
No, I'm telling you. You're not going to listen to me. See, you already just said the last was in the house.
But see, you're going back to you care what I think. You shouldn't care what I think.
I do care what you think. You want to know why? Because I care about how people think of me because I am not that kind of person.
And if you can point me to a different person, then I can help you.
I gave hints before.
But don't give me hints.
But the thing about it is, if I gave you hints, you automatically took it in an approach of thinking, oh, well, we already looked at the alarm system.
No, that's not how it works. So think about how much we've looked at you over the past month. You give me a new name, or Quincy Brown, or whoever you want to throw, we can do that same sort of microscope. Because in here I even have what you entered in your phone. The stuff that you've entered and deleted. Like blood is spurting from an arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling.
Do what? I didn't look this up.
It's from your phone.
Blood is what?
Spurting from an arterial bleed.
No.
Well, somebody did from your phone. I don't like my stepson.
No.
I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce? I'll stalk cheating. I'll stalk Instagram. I'll stalk cheating in Colorado Springs. Catch Al Stauch cheating. How to get blood out of sheets.
Out of sheets?
I want immunity.
Oh, the blood out of the sheets was because we always had always nosebleeds. If I ever looked at blood out of the sheets, it was nosebleeds.
And I think it might be something.
I didn't ever look up anything about an artery or something unless it went from something else.
It's on your phone.
And I never looked up anything about my stepson unless someone else did.
The reason I brought up gangs is you looked up, I want immunity because it was gang related. And this sounds like, find me a new husband, find me a rich guy who wants to take care of his kids.
The new husband is just because Albert already knew that was about the lady Debbie Sherrill who wanted to find a new husband after 35 or something. He picked me about Amazon.
Like a lot of these can have nothing to do with this.
It doesn't.
I get it. Can I spray paint wood?
Spray paint wood? Well, we always spray wood.
Yeah. I'm doing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help.
Oh, that bothered me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame
Oh,
them.
yes, because I wanted them to be mine. Like
What about it?
need to be their child.
Hit and run? You Googled a lot on Letecia and traffic accident, hit and run.
I didn't hit anybody.
No? What was that?
What date was it?
I don't have a date on these. I was downloading stuff as I was coming on the plane.
Yeah, no, I don't. If
My
you tell
husband
me-
wants a divorce. My husband wants a baby, but I want an abortion. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently, which I get that. Parenting should be for people, not one. As a suicidal person might say. I mean, these make me very sad when I read them because I can see you're doing all the work at home by yourself.
Which I wanted to be there. Like, I wanted to totally have the kids as my children. That's the point you're not getting. Like, I wanted those kids to be saying to me that I'm their mom.
Yeah.
Like, I am the person who cares for them, loves them, everything. So you can think that.
What do you do if you suspect a person swallowed poison? Did somebody actually swallow poison?
Poison? I don't know. I always click things and read them.
Did somebody swallow it?
No one swallowed any poison.
Okay. You will never forgive me and treat me like a princess. You'll never know when it's too late.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always search for things when Albert was gone.
What is an offered plea? Did you figure out what an offered plea was?
Offered plea?
Yeah, ALFORD.
I think someone asked me that and I probably searched it.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Do you remember? What did you remember?
I don't remember. I just remember something. Because someone was writing that online. So if anyone wrote something online, I looked it up. Just like the other day, someone wrote something about FBI coming or something. And if I see something online, I always Google what someone else said and see what they're saying is matching what he's saying online.
Right.
So I did that completely. I do that all the time for everything.
So if you're not willing to go with Q-tip Gannon, can you at least tell me what injuries he suffered? The true ones. As far as the cut foot, was that a legit injury?
Yes.
And where did that happen?
So he was outside in the garage, and when he was outside in the garage, he was running to go help me take the trash out, come back and help me get the stuff out of the car, and then he stepped on something, which I left the blood there. I left it. Because Albert said, don't touch that fine wood or African wood, whatever kind of wood it was.
What did the piece of wood look like?
It was a board.
Okay. And it's still there in the garage?
I had to drive over it all the time. So I always had to drive over the pieces of wood.
Right. But you didn't take that out of the garage?
It's too big. You couldn't fit it in anything. You couldn't fit the pieces. The long boards that were in the garage, you could not fit. I left. Okay, so there was the piece of board that I threw in the back of Albert's truck. And then there was the two long boards that were sitting there. So the board that was about like this size and the board that was the long boards that were sitting here. I left the long boards because that was supposed to be the fancy wood and I didn't want to ruin it by trying to get the blood off of it. The other piece of wood was the wood that I threw in the back of Albert's truck.
And what was that one?
There was a bunch of pieces that were laying around from that night, from us running through there. It was little pieces. There was a piece about this size, maybe a couple pieces. But that
you threw in the back of the truck? That bigger piece?
Well, you said bigger like this. It wasn't that big.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cheap wood. I knew it was not the wood that he would be freaking out over. So from Sunday, he did hurt his foot from Sunday.
And how badly was it bleeding?
It wasn't. I say Saturday. I'm sorry. From Saturday. Albert had just left, to drive to the airport. He wasn't even gone.
Mm-hmm.
He had just left to drive to the airport.
Okay. So did it require a Band-Aid? Or?
Gannon, whenever he always does something, he tries to be he's not laying over. He's like, oh, I need a Band-Aid or whatever. Gannon would literally walk around with toilet paper in the middle of his toe, and it would have blood or whatever, and just run everywhere to his room.
Okay. So what did you do on this occasion?
We literally took the paper towel. That's why I just told you about the toe, and put in between them.
So it was in between his toes is where the injury
No,
was?
it was like wrapped here.
Okay.
We had it wrapped. And I don't remember if we got a Band-Aid, to be honest. Just what? Gannon.
Well, that doesn't sound like a big injury.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it was blood. There was no big injuries. I left it on the wood because I said I'm not going to clean his fine African wood.
What did it look like on the wood? Drops, streaks?
Well, what I did originally was I was trying to take water to do it, but then I realized if I put cleaner, then that wouldn't do anything but cause the wood to damage, because I would always want to build things with all this wood involved. And if I use those pieces of wood and all that stuff, then, you know.
Did you ever use that shop vac to clean up anything out there?
No, I never used the shop vac. The shop vac was never, I couldn't even, like, move anything with the shop. Anything that would have been used with the shop vac would have been Albert, other than the times that we brought it, which would have been weeks ago, and we did spring cleaning and fall cleaning around the house, in the corners, and stuff like that. So that would have been the shop vac. There was nothing I ever did and vacuumed up something with a shop vac.
All right, that helps me.
This brings us to the end of part 2, but this FBI interview is far from over. Before you leave, tell me what stood out to you during this hour. Was there a particular answer, contradiction, change in tone, or moment between Letecia and the agents that caught your attention? I want to recognize these highlight viewers. Thank you for watching, commenting, sharing, and helping these conversations reach more people. And to my paid members, whose names are appearing on the screen now, thank you for directly supporting the work that goes into obtaining records, organizing these lengthy interviews, and creating these deep dives. Your support means more than you know, and I truly appreciate every one of you. As you all know, FOIA requests a lot of times are not free. So all the support I get, I truly appreciate. Part 3 of the FBI interview is coming next, so make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications turned on. Until then, keep asking questions, keep demanding accountability,